I'm gonna say if any hero needs a bit of love, and I don't mean cosmetics, I mean a complete like proper remodel. I think it's this hero because it just looks so. I don't want to say ugly because that sounds insensitive, but it just.
Oh, no, he's ugly.
No,
No. He's ugly. That's the entire point of Lion. Though. Look at his proportions. Look at how long his arms are. It's proportionally wrong. His legs are too stumpy. His torso is way too big. Of course, these models were designed for top-down view, so isometric view is made for that, I suppose, which means it's not as much of an issue. But the Lion's supposed to be disgusting, I guess, which kind of makes sense. If you look at the size, compare his size to Timbersaw. Look at how tiny Timbersaw is scaled down. It's like Lion's bigger than this guy in a mechanical suit. You know, it's no wonder Timbersaw is scared of trees. Still, Lion into Storm. There's the Hex. There's the stun. A little bit of arrow setup now as well for the Mirana, so you can follow up after the Earth Spike comes in. 5ManMidas do pick up the Rubik. A lot of good spells to steal. Mirana's kit is great. Lion's kit is even better, and you're more than likely just gonna snag either the Hex or the Earth Spike coming out. So there is a lot that the Rubik can get done here, and it should set up for a good time. Like, you've got a lot of ways to protect the Storm with the Abaddon. You've got Rubik to steal some good spells. Latam defenders do go all in on the PA, so PA into Ursa. It's actually pretty okay for the PA. Ursa will have to build the MKB. That's not something we see Ursas tend to naturally opt for. So it's going to be a bit of a diversion here for the Ursa to build into that item to deal with PA, unless our Storm does go for that Bloodtorn. But we have seen issues with Bloodtorn up against a BKB on the PA, so a bit of back and forth there.
Yeah, not to mention the Lotus Orb that will probably be built up on the Timbersaw, which we always see up against the Storm Spirit because you almost guaranteed need it. Still, yeah, I do agree the PA is going to be very nice into that Ursa. Definitely not wanting that MKB. You could hope to cleave with the Battle Fury and get the damage off that way, but obviously that's quite unrealistic to kind of expect in the middle of a team fight. Well, they've got an offlane pickup here, 5ManMidas, so they could still find something to kind of make the PA's life hard. It's just a matter of what you can pick up, and I suppose one of the offlaners that could have done it is the Sand King with Epicenter Burrow. That is now banned out from Latam defenders. You still have heroes like Offlane OD, but that just hasn't made an appearance for such a... Not such a long time. It's only been like a week, but ever since that patch came out that nerfed OD a bit, we haven't really seen much of that. But having the Meteor Hammer into the Astral and then dropping Sanities is usually quite good up against the PA. You're smiling, John. You've seen something again. What is it?
No, they've reached a point in the stream where they were talking about the Timb. There are a couple of people saying they've never heard of Timb. There are a couple of people that do say Timb. So there you go, Mike. There are others. There are multiples of us, Mike. Okay, multiples.
They're lying, John. They're lying. Nobody says it.
Still, we're going to see the next pickups. Of course, as you mentioned, Offlane for 5ManMidas. They're still looking for a favorable mid here for that Storm. Maybe the Kunkka comes out with the X mark. That could be another setup for the Arrow as well for Latam. That's the only real option mid that they have available if they want something that can give them some control for the Storm outside of the line. So only the Kunkka really left. You pointed out the OD maybe, but
okay. Wow.
Visage, huh?
Ooh. Visage comes out, huh? That's a very interesting pick. I'm not exactly sure what to think of it. I think in terms of kiting out this Ursa, it's going to be amazing because Gravekeeper's Cloak makes it so he can't burst you. I don't even know what the spell's called. The one where he steals your movement speed and attack speed or whatever it is. The first spell.
Yeah, Grave Chill, I think.
Grave Chill, something like that. I never played Visage, John. I have standards, but you get my point. What is it, John?
I used to play Visage.
Did you really?
Way back. Yeah, like when I was lower tier. It actually is, like if you're trying to climb and you're decent enough with your all creep control, like control clicking to control everything, it's actually pretty good. Before, it was a lot easier. Visage in this case, you mentioned, it's going to sit through the Brisk quite nicely. Although the Ursa kind of burns through your Gravekeeper's Cloak quite fast, especially once he gets his Overpower on, so they're going to lose that stacks immediately. The Fury swipes will still stack up, so there's going to be a burst of damage after that buff is gone. What the Visage does give is some much-needed push here for Latam defenders. So they do have a way of taking some objectives out. And 5ManMidas just goes for the tide. It's left alone. That does give them a lot of team fight on top now. They've got some really durable frontliners, but this is a tide into Timbersaw. So there are some ways for Valky to kind of handle Monster, in this case, rip through his HP, maybe force him to throw the Ravage off at a awkward position or awkward time where you don't necessarily want to. Really solid drafts from both sides. Very different once more. I think Latam defenders have pulled out something very, very, very different from what we're used to seeing. Just the Visage to close it out. Na up against Esk down mid. Visage versus Storm. I don't think I've ever seen that. At least not within 2 years.
It's been a long time. Not really sure what to expect, but I think before the level 6 mark for the Storm, it is going to be very hard to contest the Visage. After that, maybe you could just zip away every time he gets close, but I think it might pay off this game. I think there's a lot of kite ability that can occur here with the Ursa. You might not care once you have a BKB on that Ursa, but up until that point, it can be a little bit challenging to deal with this Na Visage, but let's wait and see. Let's not assume things too early on, as again, we haven't seen this hero in a very long time. It's hard to know where it fits in the current meta.
Yeah. The itemization as well is what I want to be seeing out here from Na. We used to see Helm of the Dominator rushed out from Visages, even down mid, just to take control early, start running down, get some good push going on with the additional creep. Not sure if that's going to be a priority here in this case for Na. And you also have to remember, he does have some really interesting abilities now. With the Ags, it does give you a new skill, Silence the Grave. I tried it out once. And it's a strange one. Like it gives you movement speed and change your movement type to flying. And when you leave invisibility, you deal 30% more damage. So I'm not sure if that's something Visages will rush now. It's potent, but it's not the same as getting an extra familiar like you used to. So not entirely sure if you're going to be wanting to rush that now on Visage. Although Na.
He's going to be in trouble. They do surround. Na. This is not the way he wanted to start, and he is going to get taken down immediately. First blood will go to the way of Esk on the Storm, and that's going to be a very nice start for the Storm, who is in for a pretty difficult laning phase.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, just finding that kill does set up Esk a big amount of an advantage. He's ready to ship himself some additional regen on hand. He can build into his null easily. They're still taking control of the high ground, and Latam defenders are still in the area, so there's an opportunity perhaps to keep scuffling here.
Certainly so, especially if 5ManMidas want to try and fight. Eridus going to show himself. Boone's going to stand his ground with the Aphotic Shield, but they do get the bounty, and they are indeed going to go for another fight. Arrow did land from Moonlight, but they aren't going to really contest or capitalize on it. That'll be enough. Both teams back off. Wait for another time to re-engage. Does seem like Moonlight is going to almost pump fake going down to the bot lane. He's going to move his way back up top, and of course you are going to try and get another arrow and try to set up a kill for yourself before you do leave this lane if you are Eridus or Moonlight. Eggstar is probably dead. See ya, Eggstar. Blocks off the tree line. He can't walk that way anymore. Very nice play there from Moonlight. And it should be Eridus leaving the lane, if anyone. Or he could just stay here if he really wants to.
Yeah,
See
I
if
think
they do want to try lane.
it is a Timbersaw bot, right? Like, you don't necessarily need to support that here. It can be left alone, even against a dual lane. You're seeing Valky up against Lord Boons. 2 melee heroes against Timbersaw. It's not too much of a challenge. Sure, Lies can try to get some hits in once he has a Fury swipes, but every single time you try to contest, there's just no way you're shoving this Timbersaw out.
Not only 2 melee heroes, John, 2 strength melee heroes. Not going to feel very good at all. The Valky's going to be somewhat careful when Boons gets the Curse of Avernus off. I suppose the silence can be pretty detrimental to Valky because he might not be able to chain away from the Ursa. Of course, the added attack speed for that Ursa is going to be very nice, especially if he doesn't have the overpower up at the time. Still, we'll have a look at the mid lane as well, because I imagine the top lane is where all the action will be. In fact, as I say that, I believe there is some right now. This monster popping a fair bit of damage, but he's going to be alright. But the mid lane, Esk versus Nana. Even with that first blood gold, Nana has managed to keep up in terms of CS. And it is that Grave Chill that makes it very difficult to lane up against this hero.
Yeah, I mean, the harassment you can pump out with your added attack speed is fairly big as well. And Esk, I mean, he's not taking too many hits. He has better wave clear on that Storm, so that's the one thing the Visage doesn't have as much control over. He does have some good trading spells with the Soul Assumption, but generally do go for Grave Chill plus Cloak.
Just to kill down at that bot lane. Looks like Valky did end up getting caught off guard. And like I said, John, Curse of Avernus, you get hit by it, you're kind of screwed. Of course, Boons and Lies can dive the tier 1 tower if necessary to get the kill as well. So you have so much tankiness with that Aphotic Shield. So Valky will have to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot of value from killing off that Timber Saw. It's not amounting too well up top. Like the tri-lane against a dual lane, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's achieving too much. They're slowing down the Tide Hunter. So Monster isn't getting as much farm, and Cocohook is finding a good amount of farm for himself. But if you slow down a Timber Saw too much, we've seen this hero fall flat.
He does need that good start. You can see him just backing off every single time that silence does kick in. Of course, now that he has level 2 reactive armor, he's going to be a little bit safer, but definitely not out of the woods, as they do jump in again with the Earth Shock, and he has no chains up yet. It's not level 4. Curse of Avernus, that'll kick in. Lies will go in for a bit more damage. Do they want to dive for this? It looks like they will, as Boons has the Aphotic Shield and Valky has nowhere to go, and they will get another kill. And just based off the way this lane is going, I'd say it is kind of worth it if they bring a support in.
Yeah, it's just way too slow to start now. I mean, Monster is still getting levels, although they might find that kill.
Yeah, Monster does Fairy Fire up, still trying to run, but the follow-up arrow is there, and Cocohook will be able to get a kill on the PA. They do make the tri-lane kind of work out here with that kill. I just don't know if it's worth your Timbersaw struggling this much.
Probably not, because even if a Tide Hunter goes off to a slow start, as long as you hit 6, you're always going to have the threat of Ravage. Right? Like, Ravage is always going to be a factor there, whereas the Timbersaw, sure, he's going to have Chakram, but without items to supplement his kit, it does fall flat. And apparently both sides are receiving some lag. Aretes as well, mentioning it, so I'm surprised again. Boons is not lagging. He's just constantly at, what, 180 to 200. Doesn't matter. It's constant.
It's 230, John. Don't undermine how much ping the man's playing on. The man from Australia on 230 ping is the only guy, apparently, that's not receiving internet issues right now. So there you go.
And BN.
I told you, John, Australian internet's no longer a meme. We're kind of doing something with it. It's good.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's all the spiders on the internet lines. They're helping out. They're helping out. Just like the spider nest in the router mic.
Yeah, World Wide Web. We took that quite literally, John, in Australia. And
yeah. Like, I still remember you mentioned you were bit by a spider. How does that happen? Like a spider just casually crawls up to you?
Yeah, so what happens in it, and I'm pretty sure this happens with the rest of the world as well, assuming they have spiders, but what happens is in very hot weather, they come out of like their little hibernation. Usually they'll, burrow and just kind of hide for a while during the winter. And then when it starts to get cold, so once you hit autumn after summer, they'll start to get into your house and try to find a warm spot to kind of just stick around for the colder months. And we just hit autumn the other day, so I guess I'm going to go around and spray the house with some bug spray or something, because they're going to come in.
God.
They're going to start attacking us, John. War has begun.
Yeah, just like the war that's still happening down bot. Valky does hit level 4, so he does have Chain away now, but that's not going to help you if you do get silenced up. Still, that does look like 5ManMidas will relieve themselves of that pressure. Boons is actually trying to get a bit of a walk around. Does drop a ward just to monitor any farming patterns that come out. And it's holding steady here for 5ManMidas. 2-3. There is a slight net worth lead coming out on the Latam defenders, but not enough to really be noticeable just yet. So they're still holding their supports up top, although they're chasing Moonlight.
Moonlight in danger, will leap away, but that was his last leap charge. Hastrun is there. Esk even getting the bounty rune on his way out. Eridus might be another kill if they can get both. Eridus will definitely die. Looks like Esk, he's just going to ignore the Mirana. He got what he came for anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty... even trade, I suppose. In the end, they look to have gotten 3 bounty runes on the side of Latam defender, so not too bad trading away support like that. And you do get some space out for that mid Visage to find a little bit more farm. Another pause out. Maybe they need some spiders to help their Discord this time, Mike. Fix that up.
I have a feeling the spiders don't help, John. They're quite quite vicious creatures, those things. The spider that bit me earlier, though, that was quite a small one. Not too bad.
Okay.
But then again, it's usually the small ones that are the most poisonous as well. So
That's true. Like, huntsmen are actually good spiders to have, right? Like, I hear they're good for bugs and stuff. Other bugs.
yeah, sometimes if you
actually pretty
see
nice.
some spiders in the backyard, you just leave them there just to catch the flies. But mid lane, Nana, he's going to be alright.
That's a big fly.
Maybe he's not going to be alright. He turned back around, but Boons just keeps moving forward on the Abaddon. He can tank through all the tower damage, and this Visage is probably going to die as the zip-in is there from Esk.
Ooh.
And Boons will barely survive the Soul Assumption, but Cookahawk does find a trade up at the top lane, killing off Monster. But I'd say the Visage is much more worthwhile to kill.
It definitely is. That gives Esk a lot more to play with. He gets to secure this Arcane Rune down bot as well. So he's getting a lot of value on the Storm. Is pulling way ahead compared to Nanana. And Nanana, I mean, he's got level 6. He can go for the Familiars, which should allow him to farm in the jungle a little bit faster if he does have that up. The issue is the jungle is already fairly well monitored here from the side of 5ManMidas. And now, Latam defenders still hold onto a slight net worth lead. That's all riding on the fact that Cookahawk is finding a lot more in the top lane. But they really are sacking the other lanes. Like, Valky is just slowing down so much in Tim, and he's in danger.
Yeah, Valky just not getting any space to just relax and get some farm up, is going to die for, I believe, the 3rd time this game. All within 7 minutes. However, he gets a kill in the mid lane up against Aikstern. Of course, with the Familiars up now, they can start the push. All of these force the glyph, and they'll force a rotation out from Lord Boons.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot of value from this Abaddon regardless. He gets to soak down mid. The Familiars don't quite do enough damage on tier 1. And they are actually fairly squishy if you put them up a bit too close. So you have to watch your spacing there from Nanana. He is going for the drums build. So it's a more aggressive Visage build that just wants to stay with his team, force towers out, force fights out. And should still be on the road for it fairly soon. So we'll see if that does help the case here for the side of Latam defenders in finding these early objectives. Neither side really positioned to go for an early push just yet, although there has been some good chip damage down bot. Both sides are just kind of trying to secure that early farm, especially for the Visage. Like, Nanana just needs to find the farm up into drums, and then I think that's when you feel confident enough to start showing yourself in the side lanes.
Moonlight. Oh, they might spot out Esk, but no, Esk spots him out first. Familiars are around to stop Esk from pursuing the kill. Just wanted the Invis rune anyway. Even duking out the arrow now. Let's pop the Invis rune, and it's going to be okay to walk back towards his tier 1 tower. Like, no. Still just trying to farm up his own drums. Definitely not the start you'd envisioned for this Visage, but to try and catch up the best he can. Meanwhile, bot lane, Lies, going to be chased down by Valky a bit. Not really going to lead to much. Like, he's going to be fine, and top lane, Monster might just get dived. Looks like the threat of the Ravage is enough to keep them at bay. Lies.
Expecting power that side as well.
He used the Enrage already. Chain's not actually going to latch onto a tree. Had that landed, he may have just got the kill, but Valky not going to be able to get there.
It's unfortunate. They really want to slow down Lies here. Still having a good start on that Ursa. They do manage to finally find Monster. They do pick up that kill for themselves up top, and Cookahawk is pulling ahead here on the PA. Perseverance up, about 700 gold ahead of the Ursa, so that should mean a faster Battle Fury for the PA, and a lot more flash farm coming out from the PA if 5ManMidas don't manage to find an answer for this.
Yeah, my only concern right now for Latam defenders is they're going to get this quick Battle Fury, but she's just going to want to be able to farm up on that PA anyway. Nana needs to be the tempo setter for the team, and right now, just based off his farm and levels, you start to question whether he can do that job for the team. He's going to rotate top, and he's going to get the Grave Chill onto Monster with a nice Soul Assumption. The Earth Spike is there, and it looks like Monster is going to die for a second time. That's definitely going to help out the cause of Nana. He does pick up the drums now, and maybe he could start forcing that tier 1 top tower in, but it looks like he wants to try and at least secure this power rune. It is going to be an Arcane as well, and that means Aegster is probably just gone.
Oh yeah, it's that spike with a Visage now. With drums up, with the familiars ready to go, you can start to melt through, and Nana is actually saving up for the Ags. So going for that Silent as the Grave, for the added move speed and the scouting capabilities, that could be potent if he finds it in a timely manner. Forces out a response to defend this mid-tier 1 as well.
It's going to be nice and easy with the drums popped. No glyph. On 5ManMidas, and that tier 1 tower is definitely gone. And that's what you like to see when you see a Visage on the in someone's draft. You just want to take towers very, very early, especially that mid-tier 1, because you need the map to open up.
Yeah, and you're just going to start to clear out some of these objectives now, going forward up top as well. And it's a simple process for the Visage. Pop the drums, melt the tower. They've got a casual Blightstone as well to make this quicker. So the towers will not hold at all, and there's just no push coming out from 5ManMidas to counteract that.
Bot lane, looks like they are trying to go onto Valky, but they've lost Esk. He gets fingered there by Eridus. And Lies now is just trying to get himself out, but the chase is on. Familiars are going to get vision very, very soon. Lies, he has help in the form of boons on the Abaddon, but he's already lost that aphotic shield, and now with all the control, they are going to be able to take him down very easily. Very, very bad news for 5ManMidas.
And they're just going to get run down now. They've got the Battle Fury up on Cocohook, so he can just focus in on farming, going for the Desolator next. A much more standard build-up for a PA. No need to rush for something like the BKB here. And Cocohook has just not been contested. 3-0 so far. A lot of space on the map for him to farm up. Look at these wards out from Latam defenders as well. Watching the top jungle, watching the top lane, watching their entrance by the river ramp, and watching the bot lane. They've got a lot of control in terms of finding out what 5ManMidas wants to do, and that just prevents a lot of rotations out from 5ManMidas. They are trying to get some recovery farm here for Monster. Does hold onto the Ravage, wants to build up more on the Tide, and you also need to see that Orchid come out from Esk, but that's going to take a little bit more time to just build up here.
Certainly. I think the vision being provided here from Latin defenders is obviously going to be very, very impactful when you've got a Visage who can pretty much kill anyone right now, assuming he has a +1. Definitely just want to be able to abuse it as much as possible. Burns. Be able to walk away from Nana. Like, Nana is really committed to just going straight Ags. It looks strong just on paper. I haven't personally seen it, so I'm very curious to see how impactful it's going to be.
I think it's going to be a lot. Like, if that amps up his damage overall, so Soul Assumption full stack from the Invis, that's going to be a huge nuke to have, just 30% amp up. Still, the rotation from 5ManMidas. They want to make a move onto Valky and take this tier 1 bot.
Zip straight into the tree line. Eridus is going to be the one to be found out, and the Ravage is going to be committed, connecting on both. Valky getting Earth spiked up, and they even stole the Whirling Death. Valky, though, chains away, doing a lot of damage to the enemy, but it's not going to matter. Being controlled up and is going to die. Very nice pick off there from 5ManMidas. Be able to go after that bottom tier 1 tower now.
Yeah, it's a fairly quick push when you have these many heroes around. Issue is, this is a ton of space out for Latam defenders. Cocohook now nearing 8k net worth, whereas our Ursa is still at 6k here from the side of 5MM. So the build-up is not quite even yet. The Battle Fury is almost done for Lies, and it's at that point where he can maybe sort of equalize that farm. But this is just highly efficient farming from Latam. Like, Nana is just clearing out the top jungle. He has one part for his Ags up, so he's got more stats to play with. And he's getting some good levels in. Max level Soul Assumption up. So if you go into these fights and you don't burst down the Visage, he's going to be able to pump out a lot of damage with that Soul Assumption.
And defenders just going to occupy the Dire jungle now, and they are starting to look towards that top tier 2 tower. So you still have plenty of capability of going after this tower even this early with this Visage. going to have to pick off Monster if they want to make that happen. They're going to commit. Valky, he'll just tank the creep wave. Monster will show himself. He'll force Valky to back off again. Instead, they move over to the mid lane.
This should make my life easier.
Looks like both teams are fairly just comfortable just farming up right now. I think it does favor Latam defenders a bit more because they have this PA that is sort of reliant on just being able to farm at this point of the game. I suppose you could make the same argument for the Ursa Storm, but we've just seen PAs so many times in the late game just destroying people. As now S, mid lane, is going to be able to blow up Eridus, but the Yules is there from Moonlight into the Arab with the Aphotic Shield. Going to purge off the stun, and it may mean Boons dies, but it'll be well worth it if S gets out. Borrow time will be there. Lies, he's around the corner if they need the help. Monster is moving in, and Ravage is available in 5 seconds. That is going to force Latam defenders to back off, but Esk, he's going to jump right back in onto the Visage. Ooh. A nice Ravage out. They'll kill off the Visage, they'll kill off the Familiars, and they'll get Valky. That's a great turnaround from 5ManMidas.
That's a lot of gold to bleed out. You have to be careful with how far forward you do go on that Visage. Take control of those Familiars more. Bleeding out that much gold to a Storm is always bad news. He already has the Orchid, making great use of it. Now he's saving up for the Bloodstone next, and very sneaky play from Boons. He spots out Aretas just walking around. So the defense not going to be coming out for the mid-tier 1. They're going to try to slow it, but not much they can do right now. They need to wait for some items here in Latam, not just in the PA, but also on the line. They need a blink up to really take control in these fights.
Cuckoo Hook, of course, has the Deso, but is probably just going to work towards the BKB before he really gets involved. Just wants to be 100% safe, or maybe not. They smoke him up. Are they going for a Roshan play, perhaps?
Oh yeah, that's going to be so quick with a Visage. Just absolutely melts once you pop the drums in. That is the sneak play they're going to do. So the smoke bypasses the ward, and 5ManMidas, they do have a scan. They have to be a bit suspicious about this movement, but they don't scan the right spot.
No, they do not. Another thing with the Visage, you get that Grave Chill going. With your Familiars, you just take down the Roshan so darn quick. Being Aegis now to Cuckoo Hook, and that means without the BKB, he can join his team for a fight if he wants. He may just do so.
There's no Ravage right now in 5ManMidas, so it's a very bad time for them to force a bigger fight out. They could still try though, but...
We'll give it a crack. Valky, chain up to the high ground. Everybody else from 5ManMidas backing off. Even Boon's going to be just fine to get out. So instead, Latam defenders back into that mid-tier 2 tower. If you control the triangle of the enemy side, of course, you are naturally going to get a net worth advantage. That may just be the objective here from Latam defenders. They're not really in any rush with this position 1 PA. Especially at the speed that he's farming up. Just no reason for them to force any fights if they don't have to.
Invisibility.
Oh. Lies.
Trying to fight here. Esk is also backing. Moonlight committed. You do have the arrow available if you want to try and throw it into Lies, but you don't have the Yule set up yet. Not for another 5 seconds. Chains forward again. They're going to find Esk instead, but he's going to zip away. They haven't got the lockdown as the Hex was on cooldown. However, over to the high ground from the high triangle now. Ravage going to be expended, only connecting on the PA. They are going to get the Aegis. Nana does manage to back off with his DD rune now, turning back around. Monster. Monster, he'll be stunned up. He gets crit on the dagger. He's copying a lot of damage and looks like he is set to die. They also get Extra on the Rubik, and they might just be able to get Lord Boons. He does have borrowed time. So that's going to be enough to allow him to get out, but still definitely a very good team fight here for Latam defenders once again.
They force out the Ravage, so to fight a respawn of this Tide, they're not going to have that for the next defense. They will have to pull off. A bit of an awkward fight for Cuckoo Hook, just kind of trying to maximize his time down there, farming on the edge while low. Does get punished, but it's just an Aegis. Still building into the BKB in a timely manner. You do have the blink now on Aretas. So he can blink in, he can hex, he can get that Earth Spike off, and it complicates matters for the Storm. who has already had sort of a wonky time jumping in and out. Now you have to worry about the line just catching you out of position and finding that kill. Really even game on the board. 11 to 11, 1k lead on Latam defender, so it's not a big lead, but it does feel like they've got the momentum on their side here.
They definitely do. I think the key timing is that BKB for the PA still.
Prize is mine.
Stupendous. Haste.
Lies is farming up the exact same thing, of course. It does still feel like the PA is just going to be that much more impactful with the BKB. Lies will try and at least get his up ASAP. And Axe is up in 600 gold now for Nana.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. I'm
Yeah,
very
I mean,
curious.
I'm just mildly worried. I mean, he's surely aware it's, of course, different. But if he's expecting a third familiar, I think he might be in for a bit of a shock. Oh, surely not, right? Like, sometimes you tunnel vision in. I'm just... hopefully he's not. And it's still a good spell. I want to see its impact. And anyway, when you hit level 25, you will have that +1 familiar. So it's going to come out at some point, although...
Spike mid.
monster.
Yeah, it is the tide. They're going to leave him be. We'll just drain some mana off him. Going to jump back through for another whirling death, but I don't really see them killing him. As Nana isn't around the area, and of course their PA is also just still freely farming up. Just
Yeah,
one of those games
just-
now where we just both teams feel the need to get more items to really have some a decent chance to be able to fight. 5ManMidas, they are going to smoke up as 3 and see if they can use this Ravage. Esk will follow. Problem is, they're going onto the wrong side of the map. Latam defenders, they are going the opposite way. And if they keep going that way, they may run into Lies on the Ursa. And he is all by himself right now.
Yeah, he's so close to that BKB as well. Does not want to die here. Looks like they'll just set eyes for the bot tier 1, which our Visage will still be able to melt quite fast. And the Ags is up now for Nanana. So we'll see just how effective Silent as the Grave is. I think it's pretty darn nice, but again, 30%, 4-second duration for the damage. Not sure if that's enough to justify a 4,200 gold item. We'll find out soon enough.
It's very hard to tell, right? Because you don't see Visage enough to really know what the optimal builds are. I'm sure Nana knows exactly what he's doing. Tier 2 bottom tower, not going to last too long at this rate. They need to try and defend, it seems, on 5ManMidas, but they're not even going to have the time for it. It's just gone. And with that, Cookahawk is basically one creep away from having the BKB up now. And I think that'll just be Q to smoke up and move as a team, try to start a big 5v5. 5ManMidas, they are going to try and start it first, as they do have the BKB now up on Lies. Amelias are going to go in, Moonlight Shadow, they're going to see right through it, go on to Moonlight, but he's still alive. Big Ravage up from Monster is going to mean Eridus does die, and now the leaps away from Moonlight are probably not going to be enough. So he does die on the high ground, and now it's on to Nana. They'd love this Visage to die. Looks like they might even find him. But the Familiars, 3-man stun. And he is invis, so they can't actually see him.
Yeah, we don't see the damage coming through though, as they are forced to back out. So a good set of pickoffs there for 5ManMidas. They're not able to find any big core, so that's the silver lining there for Latam defenders. They don't drop anything major just yet, but 5ManMidas are showing that they do have the power on hand. Again, it's a very close game at 11 to 13. We're seeing our Ursa start to be a big factor now with the earlier BKB on Lies. Of course, that is going to line up with a BKB as well on Cookahawk, and Cookahawk is going hunting here. No
He's not going to be able to kill him. And Rage is going to make it impossible anyway.
Mystery.
Comes Nana. Very, very sneaky on this Visage now. Okay, this flying vision does seem kind of... sorry, not flying vision, but flying movement does seem kind of broken. Not 100% sure yet. But flying movement is always pretty darn good.
Oh yeah, and it's I believe 35 seconds of flying movement.
That's a lot.
It's a pretty long time with a 45-second cooldown. A lot of uptime for that in the Visage.
Just flies across the map. Latam defenders, they'll see Boons. Not quite the target they want to initiate on, so they'll leave him be. Yes, he'll just hide in the tree line for now. Like the defenders, they might just try and force this top tier 2 tower. BKB up on Hook as well. Gonna be a nice easy tower. In the end, if you can't get a team fight started, you just take objectives. Wait out the next Roshan, and we're about to find out when that Roshan's about to spawn.
The prize is mine.
1 minute
It's a bit
and 20
of a longer
seconds.
one. Not the quickest, but Latam defenders does set themselves up well for the next Roche, taking out that top tier 2. So there's only the mid tier 2 left for 5ManMidas to really port into to contest that Roche. Not much vision around the pit from both sides yet, although again Latam can just easily start to plant their wards around the area, knowing that 5ManMidas is not going to have as much control. Gotta be careful here, as they are circling around a bit. There is Ravage ready in 5ManMidas if they want to force something.
Banana, he's basically a Nyx assassin right now. Just better. I mean, he was underneath the Sentry Ward in all fairness, but the amount of vision this Visage Ags can get you, seems really good.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of turns your familiars into like the old Beastmaster Hawks that you could control that stay invis. So
Yeah.
you just get a lot of scouting vision out, and they do a lot of damage once they do pop out. So there's a nice back and forth there. Still, 5ManMidas are grouped up, looking like they want to maybe smoke after the creep wave. Have Ravage waiting. They've got the blink on Monster as well.
There it is. The Shadow Amulet just chilling out, waiting to see if someone will walk past, but nobody does. It
Look at
begs
all
the
those
question,
figures in
John,
the
do you
road.
remember the initial, the original Visage with the 6 familiars? They're all tiny in Dota 1.
Yeah, it wasn't even like familiars. There was like, I don't know, he was a very weird hero in Dota 1. I played him then, and I didn't understand what I was doing. All I knew is things died, and I just forget. I was like, okay, it's a weird one. Still,
They
Roche
were
up.
annoying to control, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that they were. Oh,
Zip in, S. Gonna go after the Lion, trying to blow him up. Ravage is there. Big one for Monster as well, catching up to 4 heroes. They're still gonna try and go for the fight. Hook going after S, but he'll zip away. It's not a great start here for Latam defenders. Eggstar gonna walk out. Burns, borrowed time has been popped, so he's basically just dead. Aquatic Shield will not buy him enough time. And Roshan is up. Latam defenders, they did commit a buyback. They may as well just try and rush this Roshan now. That is exactly what they'll do. They know the Storm is without mana to boot. So the chances of it being stolen are quite low, but Monster is going to try and buy some time for the Storm to reset and TP back to the outpost. Roshan going to be left at half HP.
yeah, they don't want to force the issue. There's no Ravage on 5ManMidas, but they are worried about the Storm coming in. And X has had a really good time targeting, just constantly going for the line, which is their best control for the Storm, but that doesn't matter if you're dead before the fight starts.
Elias, very, very cheeky here from the Ursa. They're going to try and distract the rest, but Lions does eventually walk out of the pit as S jumps in onto the Visage, but does back out again. Hook meanwhile, straight onto Monster. They blow him up with the finger. He'll buy back immediately. Onto Lord Boons, but he does have the borrowed time. It's not looking great for him, though. He'll need to get up onto that high ground. But Roshan will continue. Lies, meanwhile, again jumping back in, but with no BKB pop. He'll pop it now, but Hook right on top, going after Monster, trying to delete the tide, will get the Ursa, and also finds Boons. Moonlight would love a dieback on this Tide Hunter. It's going to be okay, Monster. I can't say the same for the Roshan, though, as both familiars go down. Hook happily going to take that Aegis for himself now. Also keeps the cheese. That was a very unfortunate situation, John. You saw Lions getting stunned up by those familiars before he could get the BKB off, and by the time he did, it just didn't seem to matter anymore.
No. And that's the one thing that this Visage really does give you, that good set of chain stuns that people tend to underestimate, and people tend to stay clumped up for, because it's really hard to track these familiars mid-fight, right? You're worrying about other heroes instead. You're worrying about your own position relative to, say, the PA or the Lion in this case, and you just end up clumped up, get chain stunned by those familiars. You don't have enough burst to deal with them beforehand because everything else is so much more important. And suddenly you just leave Na alone. Because he has his level 15 talent with 2 targets and the Soul Assumption, man, sustained fights are a pain for 5ManMidas. And they've got 2 tanky heroes in the front, so there's always going to be a source of a hero to damage to get more charges on that Soul Assumption.
It's just such a strong ability to have. Can't underestimate how much damage that Soul Assumption does. The cooldown is so low as well. Like every 4 seconds, 2 people are getting Soul Assumption placed on them. And you're going to have it maxed out every single time in a team fight because of the amount of damage that's being pumped out. It's just kind of ridiculous how much magic damage you can get out there against 5ManMidas with this Visage.
Yeah,
Cool.
I actually do like this change with the Ags, right? Like, before it was about getting more familiars, and then you'd also build up, like, a creep army with, you'd build yourself a Dominator and just play this push game. Go AC maybe, or in some cases Necronomicon. This time around, it's all about the damage, and this is the Visage I miss. It's just the pure damage dealing, scouting around, being really disruptive in fights. Na is doing a fantastic job. He makes this hero look really underrepresented, you know? Like, it's been left under the radar, and here it is sneaking in, held its own against the Storm quite well. And now they're 15-15, but with a 10k lead on Latam defenders, 5ManMidas have to take their fights carefully. They need to play with this Ravage that is up and try to lock in that line once more to enable Esk to just zip around and get the damage off.
Cool Hook looking for an initiation here, hoping somebody comes in to farm that creep wave mid lane. He does have the Abyssal up. With the Aegis, he's ready to go whenever. All lies, does blink away. And they control the maps. There's no real reason for them to risk losing a high ground fight. More than happy to just keep controlling up the Dire jungle and not allowing 5ManMidas to actually leave the base. Even a nice double damage rune being spotted out now. And that may be Q to try for high ground once they do pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have so much burst damage coming out in the PA. Now, at the least, you do have this MKB up on Lies. So he can actually get some hits off onto that Phantom Assassin. And the durability from the evasion is not quite going to be there anymore. Still, you have to worry about that instant bash on the Abyssal. And even the bash and the dagger can be really frustrating to fight into. So just a conservative play here from 5ManMidas. They know the Aegis is still up. They don't want to force the Ravage outside with Aegis up and running. And they're just stuck in their base. They lose out in the 4 more in this case, of course. And Latam defenders are just in a very comfy spot to play this war of attrition.
That they are. The Eye of Skadi being built up now by Hook. Lies. Continuously blinking back after clearing out the creep wave. Zip in. Silence is there from Esk, but again, no commitment. They understand they can't really commit all the way. They also don't know that that double damage rune is bottled up right now for Hook. It has not been spotted out by the Dire side, so it would be a bit of a surprise for them if the team fight did start. Zip is there from Esk again, but he's going to zip right back out. Now Hook, I think he just said screw it. To the tier 3 tower they go. They still got the Aegis for a bit longer.
It's only for 9 seconds though. Risky spot if Hook does get focused on here. Might be surprised with the Aegis expiring.
Zip in, they do get the Vortex off. It's going to be just fine. That is it. The Aegis does expire now. Do they want to keep trying for this tier 3? Nana does. Familiars, one of them drops. So that should be it. I don't think they go any further.
No, just a conservative play once more from Latam defenders. They know there's power here, and 5ManMidas in the high ground. Ravage is still scary. 5ManMidas, knowing that they're on the retreat, do smoke up. They want to get some punishment out from stragglers. Let's see if they find someone.
They're going into Moonlight Shadow. Smoke already broken on Lies. Monster gonna go to the high ground. Nana just gonna scout out. Monster does not want to die on his own. He needs to get that Ravage out ASAP. But he needs the right one as Lies is going to be scouted. They'll go for the Chakram first as they jump in with the Abyssal and the BKB. Lies falling low, but there's your Ravage out. The Timber in trouble and is going to drop, but Cookahawk is just focused in onto Lies. In fact, never mind, he'll turn back around onto SQ, was hexed up. And now it's back to Monster. Tide will blink away for a second. Gonna try and juke, but no, the arrow gives vision, and now another hex onto Boons. Will mean an Abaddon death. Two heroes down without buyback available. You've got buyback on Esk, but this is still gonna be a very hard defense without Ravage up.
No, they really were banking on the control Ravage would give them. They're not quite close enough to finish up the Ags on that Storm as well, so Esk probably doesn't want to buy back if possible. That does mean they are looking at least at the tier 3 melting, likely more if they're not careful, as there's not much Rubik and Ursa can do to stave this off.
No, there is not. They've got to sit back and relax for a bit. Watch their home burn. They'll go for the mid-racks now. They've got plenty of time to do this. Hell, even once the tide's up again, with no Ravage, are you really that afraid? I don't think they are.
No, there's just not enough here, although.
Lies jumps in. Oh, the arrow connected. That's a big, big arrow straight out onto Cookahawk. They'll get the kill. Great still there from Akestar. Now Lies, he can go forward. S gets a kill onto Erinis and Moonlight. Tries to go step her up and just run with the Moonlight Shadow. It is not going to pan out, however. And suddenly 5ManMidas, they defend high ground.
That's a really good play coming out from Ikester. Getting that control off, the PA has to be a bit careful. Was a bit greedy with holding out in the BKB, had the cheese on hand. So there might have been an opportunity to turn that around if the BKB popped on, but just a bit too far out. They still did take a lane and a half worth of racks. So 5ManMidas are going to be playing on the back foot here, but they've got enough room to finish his farm up on a few key items. The Basher is now up in Lies, so when he does go up and focus on the PA, there is a chance for that PA to just be stuck in one spot for a very long time, and they have some room to save up for the itemization on S. He is going for the Lincolns instead. It doesn't look, they just want to be safe from the Hex.
Oh, they found another. Valky gonna die, now even another. Erinis gonna try and run, but he's been dusted up, and so is Nana. They'll zip back in onto the line, but the Ghost Scepter gonna save his life for now, but not for long, as he should just go down and does. Oh boy, they've given a lot away now to 5ManMidas. You don't want to lose fights like this and just get picked off one by one. And Roshan is up.
It's pretty good timing here for 5ManMidas. They clear this Roche really fast. You have to remember, this is still an Ursa. So that Roche is going to melt. It's got an Ag's Blessing as well. So S does get the free Ag's upgrade, Mini Black Hole, which means they don't depend on the Ravage anymore. They don't need to depend on Ravage. They can just easily go in with the Storm, get the control off, and
what have they done?
They bled out one by one. They were too conservative with the Aegis. They jumped in when it expired, and they get punished for holding out in those BKB uses.
Oh, nice little Penta Edge Sword there for Lies as well. Let's give him a bit more, range with those attacks, a bit more damage if he wants it. For now, just holding on to the Ninja Gear. So this Vortex, yeah, it's going to be very scary, assuming S can land a big Vortex, and quite frankly, there has been a lot of clump ups here from Latam defenders, so it shouldn't really be too hard to land some big Vortexes for his team. Because if you can get that into the Ravage, without BKBs being popped again, Lies will be able to just shred through them. Oh, and on top of that, by the way, John, Timeless Relic is up now.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so more duration on that Vortex if S wants to pick up that Relic.
That's going to be terrifying to fight into now. If you are on the side of Latam defenders, they have to watch out for these major power spikes coming out on the side of 5ManMidas. It's getting a bit scary because this lead from Latam defenders 3k, it's not much. And sure, they can still burst heroes down, but I think we're starting to see the Visage start to tone down in its effect in the middle of these fights. Like the damage output from going out of Silence the Grave, I don't think that's even something Nana's thinking about. He just uses it to scout around and reposition, but not focusing on that 4-second window to get damage off, which, to be fair, is a very short time. So you're not getting any additional burst out.
They went from almost 20k net worth lead to 3k now, Latam defenders. It's a huge drop, and you look at the net worth graph, John, it's quite disturbing. Quite a big mountain there. Not good news that 5ManMidas have found a way back into this game. NS, Lincoln Sphere up. It looks like they've decided to give the Timeless Relic over to Monster, so you're going to have a longer duration on the Ravage now, which is pretty much just as good. In the Vortex, obviously, you can spam it a lot more often, but say a big Ravage would definitely be nice with the Timeless Relic.
Yeah, just giving them more hold in the middle of these fights. This Lincoln's is going to ruin Latam defenders' strat completely. Right? They rely so much on the line just insta-hexing. Now they have to break that Lincoln's first, and once you break that Lincoln's, there's enough time for a Storm to just zip away, reposition, find someone else in the back line, and Latam defenders loses an opening where they want to burst the Storm out first. So it's going to be really tricky to jump back into these fights now. They still hold on to a 2k lead, but again, it's not much considering they had a bigger swing a while ago. And 5ManMidas now are feeling confident with their lineup.
Oh, jump in, Abyssal Blade, they found the Lion. Eridus down. Nana also being scouted out there by Monster. Ravage gonna connect on top of the Roshan pit. That's awkward. They don't know where he is. They're gonna sit past him now, but how do you kill him? How do you actually kill him? He's just gonna go over the walls now.
Oh my god.
I have never seen that.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's like he's a courier that's just untargetable, but he's actually a hero. Moonlight just gives him the tip. Like, I guess that works. Learned something new today.
Yep, it's a good play coming up from Nana. Delaying them out. Roche is still about 4 minutes away from when we'd see it respawn. So the issue here for 5ManMidas is they aren't finding objectives. Really would like to get that done with this bounce back in that they do have, but they're not able to find a bigger pickoffs that enable them to get a shove in. So they're just playing it safe as well, getting that build up here. The Swift Blink is almost done on Lies, and then we will experience true balance once more, Mike.
Michelle. Dip in, S. Gonna try it onto Valky, but Lotus Orb is already there. Burns needs the back. Timeless, rather borrowed time is there. Vortex is out as well. That's the AoE Vortex. However, Eridus has died to Lies. On the side, and now they're going to try after Nana, but there's your Abyssal Blade coming out from Cookahawk. Enrage is out with the Aphotic Shield, giving him more time on the Ursa. They'll continue to chase, however. Lies still in danger. Monster going to jump back in, but doesn't have the Ravage. He needs to find this Ursa. He hasn't really got much of a choice right now, and he is going to die just trying to run away. Eggster, who was trying to help out, is also going to die. A triple kill out for Nana. And I didn't mention this, John, but Nana has a Spell Prism. So Soul Assumption now is 3.3 seconds of a cooldown. And you're landing it on 2 heroes every time.
Yep, it makes it hard, again, in these prolonged fights for them to find that value. They forced the fight out without Ravage as well in 5ManMidas, and even with the Vortex, it's still hard if you don't catch the big force, and Cookahawk did have free reign to just do what he wants there. So we're going to end up playing against him executes a little.
Nice AoE Vortex, but it's not really going to save the day here for 5ManMidas. Jump in, Lies wants to start the team fight without the Storm. They're going to try and go onto Eridus, but the jump in again from Cookahawk. A nice Earth Spike coming out. Lies dropping very, very low, cannot afford to die, but does go down. That'll be a tie back on the Ursa. Still, they will at least kill off the Mirana at the back lines, but does it really matter? As Cookahawk is kind of just uncontested here on the PA. Jumps in with the bash out and just deletes S. He'll buy back. But Mega Creeps are going to be on the way now for Latam defenders. And they're onto the tier 4 towers. How do you defend without your Ursa?
You don't. You do have Ravage though, but the
Dip in.
damage is an issue here.
EKB is there from Cookahawk. He wants to be uninterrupted. through these T4 towers, being sieged from Monster. Does jump in with a massive Ravage, but where's your follow-up? S, he's going to try and go after the PA, but they can't actually hit him. They don't have the damage without the Ursa, and now a Divine is up for Cookahawk. He's just going all the way, but the Vortex is there from S. He can't time this PA right now, but it looks like the cheese will be enough to keep him healthy. And he's back onto the Ancient. Zip in again from S, trying to buy time, but the GG has been called by Monster. And the first game of this best of 2 does go to Latam defenders. I've got to say, John, they were very close to throwing this game 1, but they do get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, we see spectacular Visage play coming out from Nana, seeing the power of the new Ags, sneaking around a Roche pit, getting a lot of damage off. They did get a lot of push coming out from that hero as well. So getting a lot of work done there. And 5ManMidas, look, they had a good start. They were keeping that Timbersaw in check. Monster was kind of being sacked up top for that to happen. But, you know, it's a tide. You still had Ravage to play with. It ended up being way too slow for Monster. His blink came out a bit too late. The Ravages he had to throw out weren't ideal early on, and that just caused a lot of issues there for 5ManMidas. So really well played from Latam defenders, a lot closer than you'd expect though, and we'll see if 5ManMidas can clean it up here for game number 2.
Yeah, we'll find out very soon. There's going to be a short 10-minute break, is what I was meant to say, and after that break, we're going to be right back with our final game of the day, and we'll see you all very, very soon.